morning, my name is Tommy Horton, and today I will be presenting a history of the Continental Congress. Today's United States Congress, 535 members, 233 years of serving the people, and two primary political parties. But how did we get here? To find this answer, we'd have to go all the way back to the colonial period in America. During this time, colonial government consisted of the governor, the legislature, and men holding property in the colonies. The governor was selected by the king to provide leadership for the colonies, while the legislature was elected by men holding property to keep the governor in check and in line with colonial interests. By the 1770s, however, England had passed the Intolerable Acts, or the Coercive Acts. These acts forced the closure of Boston Harbor, replaced local government the colonists had elected, and forced colonists to provide food and lodging to any and all British soldiers within the colonies. The colonists saw the Intolerable Acts as an invasion of their rights and their privacies. They were enraged. They called a meeting. The First Continental Congress met on September 5, 1774, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to discuss the Intolerable Acts. 56 delegates and representatives from 12 of the 13 colonies attended the First Continental Congress. The First Continental Congress produced two documents, the Declaration and Resolves, and the Articles of Association. The Declaration and Resolves was a document identifying the rights of the colonists which had been intruded upon by the Intolerable Acts. The Articles of Association, however, was a pact by the colonies to boycott any and all British goods until the Intolerable Acts were repealed. You'll notice earlier I said 12 of the 13 colonies. Georgia at this time was preoccupied with defending themselves against Native American Indians and heavily relied upon England for militia and supplies. They could not attend the First Continental Congress as it was a conflict of interest. The First Continental Congress adjourned on October 26th of 1774, promising to reconvene in May of the following year, 1775, to discuss the king's reaction to their demands. The Second Continental Congress met on May 10th of 1775 as promised, again in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. However, by this time, the American Revolution had already begun, and American blood had been spilled at the hands of British soldiers. The Continental Congress selected George Washington, one of their few members with military experience, to lead the colonial efforts against the Crown. You would think by this time, all of Congress supported the war for independence. However, this was not the case. There were, in fact, three factions within the Second Continental Congress. These factions included the Conservatives, the Radicals, and the majority. The Conservatives wanted to return to their previous relationship with England. The Radicals, however, wanted the polar opposite. They wanted to win the war for independence in devastating fashion and to completely sever any and all ties to England. The majority, however, wanted to remain part of the British colonies and thus part of the English Empire around the world. However, they did not approve of the English government, namely Parliament. Following the War for Independence, the Articles of the Confederation were found to be obsolete in a time of peace. The Continental Congress met in 1787 to draft the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution went into effect in 1789, and the Continental Congress adjourned permanently to be replaced by the United States Congress, which meets today. Thank you for your time.